As many of us turn that milestone birthday, we reflect on days where it seemed to be easier to pop out of bed getting ready for the day, especially without that ache here or there. So what is the answer to the fountain of youth? Well, we still may not have that answer, but we certainly have more information to share with you that will help you get there. For some, it's a function of feeling mentally tired. For others, it's more physical. Either way, our professional guests will help you feel inspired to make changes today. Welcome to Revivelife TV. I'm your host, Naturopathic Dr. Joelle. Today, we're going to give you lots of tips on how you can boost your body and your brain. Now, who doesn't want to do that? To get you thinking and using your memory, our quiz for you today is number 1. What are the 3 vitally important vitamins to reduce an amino acid release related to memory loss? Number 2, which common kitchen spice can boost your brain and body? And number 3, can the speed that you walk determine your risk for memory loss? Let's answer the one about why your swagger or walking speed may be one of the best indicators for your risk for memory loss. When you walk, a professional with a trained eye can tell you a lot about you in seconds. Your stride, gait, pace, and posture while walking can reveal surprising information about your overall health and well-being. If you walk at a snail's pace, you may want to step it up, as researchers at the Boston Medical Center associated slower walking speeds with a higher risk of dementia. The snail's pace walk may also indicate a shorter life. Walking speed is also a reliable marker for longevity, according to University of Pittsburgh analysis of 9 large studies reported in a January 2011 issue of the Journal of American Medical Association. In fact, predicting survival for those over 65 based on walking speed proved to be as accurate as using age, sex, chronic conditions, smoking, body mass index, hospitalization, and other common markers. To find out the answers to the rest of our quiz, stay with us. 4 more snacks for you on a Revive Life countdown to 101 snacks are number 56, a tomato smoothie. This powerful antioxidant and the refreshing taste in the tomatoes is a brain and body winner. Enjoy this as a snack to go anytime. Number 57, sage popcorn. Sage has a long reputation for improving memory, and although most studies focus on sage as an essential oil, it could be worth adding fresh sage to your diet too. Number 58, kale nori rolls. 10% of women are anemic, and new studies show that being even mildly iron deficient affects learning, memory, and attention. Luckily, restoring iron levels to normal with iron-rich foods like kale and nori also reserves cognitive function, which means your memory. When we are speaking about brain food, we can't ignore our omega-3 fatty acids, which reduce inflammation. Omega-3 essential fatty acids are crucial for overall health and disease prevention, but they must be supplied by food and or supplements as the human body just doesn't produce them. 2 of our most important EFAs found abundantly in fish oil are eicosapentaenoic acid, or EPA, and doxyhexaenoic acid, or DPA. ALA, another type of omega-3 fatty acid, it comes from oils such as olive, flax, canola, and soybean. A recent research study published in the Archives of Neurology showed that people with the highest levels of DHA were 47% less likely to develop cognitive disease. But the average person only consumes about 1/5 of the recommended amount of EPA and DHA per day. So, how much of this good stuff do you need? I recommend taking 4 grams of omega-3 fats per day, which you can get from a 1/4 cup of walnuts and 1 tablespoon of flax seeds. If you're taking a supplement, I recommend a 2-to-1 ratio of EPA to DHA with a minimum of 650 milligrams a day of EPA and DHA combined. These oils are sure to give your brain a boost, especially seeing that the brain is mostly made of fatty acids. Try a quick test to see whether your body's inflammatory system is on overdrive. When you get a paper cut, it should actually quickly go away and heal and be forgotten. If it gets red and you still feel the pain an hour later, you might benefit from taking fish oil. What happens if you're a procrastinator? How does that affect your memory and energy? Our guest, Tom Pitchnell, who will be with us after the break, will help us with the answer to those questions. Stay with us on Revive Life.
You just have to unlock it.
Welcome back to our show on Boost Your Brain and Your Body. Before the break, we learned that if you're a slow walker or walk at a snail's pace, you may be at more risk of having difficulties with your memory. Urban pole walking is actually a neat way to spice up your stride. You can burn 20 to 46% more calories than walking, use 90% of your muscles for a highly effective full body workout, reduce the impact on knee and hip joints, and you can improve posture, balance, and stability. Our next guest is an associate professor in the Department of Psychology at Carleton University. His research is in psychology is focused on procrastination and its relationship to personal well-being. His most recent book is The Procrastinator's Digest, a concise guide to solving the procrastination puzzle. Welcome, Tim Pitchell.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so your work is really intriguing to me. There is this whole concept of willpower. So how does willpower tie into boosting your body and your brain?
Well, willpower is like a muscle. That's what we've learned over the past decade. Lots of experimental studies have been done to show that we can exhaust our willpower quite easily. And once we do, we feel like we have nothing left. And of course, we can boost that. We can use it strategically. Even a bit of complex carbohydrate or some glucose will revive that feeling. We can remind ourselves of our values, and of course even mindfulness meditation helps because we learn how to control our attention more. But basically we have to remember that, like a muscle, if I asked you to pick up this table, you could once, but on the 10th time you say, I can't do it anymore. And when we try to apply our willpower to tasks at hand, it's much like that muscle. After we've done 3 or 4 things, we think, I don't have anything left.
Okay, so is it true that we should start with some of those small tasks first and then get into the big tasks, or how should we manage it?
Get into the important tasks first.
Okay.
Get into the tasks that you want to put off. So use that willpower to do the things that you'd rather not do because you want to use it while you're fresh.
Okay.
And instead, if you end up doing a lot of the little things, well, slowly but surely you're eating some of that up, and then you get to the big task and you realize you're running at a deficit.
Right.
Now, it doesn't mean it's totally gone.
Sure,
You know,
yeah.
every parent knows that at the end of a long day, you feel that you have nothing left, but then love for children, the desire to be a good parent, you dig a little deeper. So we can all dig a little deeper at times, but being strategic makes us more effective.
So how do we harness our willpower and direct it in a certain direction?
Well, I think that there's lots of different strategies, and I'd step away from willpower a little bit and say that one of the strategies we need is to not have vague goal intentions. So if it's all about willpower, some of us are going to lose. So
Sure.
we have to put it over to say, well, if I say something like, well, I'll get that done tomorrow, that's so vague, and tomorrow runs till midnight, and that might mean I start at 10 o'clock at night, and after I watch my favorite shows. Instead, we need to make implementation intentions, and that is, in situation X, I'll do behavior Y. Make it concrete, make it specific, and put the signal for the behavior in the environment. That just frees us up so much, because now, when that signal comes, we do the behavior. So every day, for example, before I shower, I do sit-ups and push-ups. So I'll be walking to the shower, and all of a sudden, that's the signal to, no, do your sit-ups and your push-ups.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't mean that I always feel like it. Right? That's where the willpower comes in. So
Yeah.
I think, oh, I don't feel like it. Oh, I'll feel more like it tomorrow. Now, I know myself well enough to know that's a lie, and in fact, that's what our research shows as well. We won't feel more like it tomorrow,
Sure.
especially around health behaviors, and I simply just get started. Right?
Well, that's an important point, because if we do procrastinate, which let's define that first.
Okay.
What is procrastination?
Well, all procrastination is delay, but not all delay is procrastination. A lot of people just use any sort of delay as procrastination. It's not true. I delay things every day, and I have to be strategic, to prioritize.
Sure.
But procrastination is the voluntary delay of an intended act, despite knowing you're going to be worse off for it. So we know I should act now because that's the way I'm going to get this done. The time comes and you say, oh, no, I don't want to. That's procrastination. You had an intention.
Yeah.
You know it's important to act now and you're not acting now. There's lots of times where your intention comes up, but a child's sick. Well, you're going to delay the intention. That's not procrastination. That's a necessary delay.
No, that's important.
So let's
Yeah.
just separate those two.
Okay,
So
yeah.
procrastination is we know we should be acting and we're voluntarily not acting. And then the question becomes, so why the self-sabotage? Well, it's short-term mood repair. You want to feel good now. It's human nature.
Yeah.
And we don't want to suck up the task at hand. We say, I'm going to avoid it. We don't even say that. We just start to avoid it. And the reward is, I feel better.
Well, I know that in practice, what I've seen is that people tend to procrastinate when the task they tend to be perfectionistic. So what happens is they think that it's going to take so much energy, whether they're conscious of it or not, to do that task. So you know what? I'm exhausted.
Yes.
Do something easy.
But we create that in our own minds. We've
Right.
done research where we put pagers on students and we page them throughout the week. And when they're not doing the task but thinking about it, we ask them, so how difficult is this task? How stressful on a scale from 0 to 10? Oh, stressful 10, difficult 10. Now, when they finally get to doing it, because sooner or later most of us do.
Yeah, we
now,
have to.
We have these pagers on them. We say, so you're doing it now. How stressful is it? How difficult? Oh, 7, 6.
Okay.
And so we create this in our own mind, and doing that ups the ante to, well, I don't want to do it. But interestingly, too, our research shows that task aversiveness changes depending on where we are in the project. If you're just thinking about a task, it's how much passion do you have for it? How meaningful is it? But when it comes to the action on the project, it's not if you care about it or not. It's do you know how to do it? We're liable to procrastinate on things we don't know what the next step is.
Sure.
So sometimes we have to simply find out, so what's the next step? Because if we know what it is, we'll take it.
Yeah, and or ask for help, some
Well,
coaching or
absolutely.
whatever it
Yeah.
might be, right?
And that
Yeah.
really is the next step. So if you say, I don't know what to do, that's when you look for help.
Yes.
And if you procrastinate on that, well, you're really behind the 8 ball.
Now, earlier on, we were speaking about the health connection, because that brings us back to the whole concept of boosting your body and brain.
Yes.
So if we are procrastinating, how does that cascade over into our health?
Well, a lot of people think, oh, what's the big deal? We all procrastinate. Isn't it just a matter of a few all-nighters? Well, no. In fact, we've got quite a bit of research now to show that people who procrastinate, who score higher on measures of procrastination, report more treatment delay and fewer wellness behaviors. And so basically they're getting sicker because they're not eating properly, they're not exercising, they're not sleeping enough. And when something comes up, like they have a nagging problem, oh, I've got this lump, or I got this marker, I got this pain, oh, I'll see the doctor tomorrow. Well, that catches up with us. And in fact, I have a colleague at the University of Louisiana at Monroe who just received a research grant to look at procrastination in the elderly and their health. And this is particularly important because when you're younger and you procrastinate a little
Bounce
bit,
back
yeah,
a
that's
lot
right.
faster,
We're resilient.
right? Yeah.
If you're elderly and you put off taking your meds, doing your physio, doing the exercises that you need, you pay the price much more quickly. So we have to understand more, how can we intervene? How can we help people who become their own worst enemy?
Absolutely. So what is the secret?
Wow, there's a few. There's a
Okay.
few. One of them is simply the awareness that procrastination isn't a time management problem. It's that short-term mood repair. It's giving in to feel good. So if we can start with that, the self-knowledge of all I want to do is feel good now. I'm not going to feel better about it tomorrow. I might do it tomorrow because my back's against the wall. Just that self-awareness helps a great deal. But the next thing to do is make sure that you think about the task concretely, because we've learned that our mind works in a strange way. If we think about things concretely, they belong to today and they seem to have a sense of urgency to them. If we think about things abstractly, like our health in general, oh, that's something for tomorrow. So start to think about it concretely. And then, as I talked about before, situation X, I'm going to do behavior Y. Make a very specific implementation intention, not some broad goal intention like, oh, I'm going to eat better.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Well, it means that when I go to set the table, I'm going to set a smaller plate for myself. In situation X, I do behavior Y. When I'm thinking about taking the second helping, I'm going to get up and walk away from the table. These are all simple behaviors that really lead us to eating differently. But just to say I'm going to eat differently doesn't do it for us.
So what you're summarizing is tackle those big things first when you have the greatest amount of energy. Make sure you're very specific in what your goals are. And because it's exam time for our students, one quick tip for them.
Well, I was going to add one piece, and it would go for them too. We did a study of students recently where we looked at self-forgiveness. Because these self-change projects are very difficult, and we need not beat ourselves up. It's always 2 steps forward, 1 step back. So when we do fall short, don't give in to that what the hell effect. I've had one cookie, I'm going to eat the whole bag. A little self-forgiveness. And then what we found in our research, which is interesting, the students who procrastinate